The Mandalorian and friends team up with an old enemy to find Moff Gideon and rescue Grogu. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve from VALHARTV, and today I'll be reviewing Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 7, The Believer. We start out this episode with Cara Dune remanding Mayfield, who is played by Bill Burr, into her custody in order to acquire coordinates to Moff Gideon's ship. And then Mayfield directs them to the hidden Imperial Iridium, I think I'm mispronouncing that, refinery on Morak. So that whole scene was kind of funny because a droid comes up to Mayfield and keeps talking to him, and Mayfield's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "You're gonna go with this woman." And Mayfield's like, "Why? What's going on?" And he's like, he holds up a shock baton and it starts charging. He's like, "You have 3 seconds to go." So he takes off, and Mayfield is like, "It's common courtesy to tell somebody where they're taking them, and not just take them someplace." And Cara Dune just keeps walking and doesn't care. And then we get to see Boba Fett come off his ship, and Mayfield is like, "Oh, I thought you were another guy." And then Din comes off the ship, and he's like, "Oh, the other guy's here too." So that was pretty good. On Morak, they basically scout out the Empire's operations and try to figure out how to get in, and then they end up finding how to get into the refinery. They decide that they want to hijack an Imperial transport. So Mayfield is the only one who basically can get in, and he says that. So Din, though, is not going to let him go alone, so he goes with him, and you see him dress up as a stormtrooper, which I thought was actually kind of cool, and even Mayfield points that out to him. And Cara Dune makes a comment too, which is really cool. But they hijack the Imperial transport, and as they're driving to the refinery, we get a really good dialogue sequence with Mayfield and Din. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but it really plays into the rest of the episode. And I think it's really well done. And then they end up getting attacked by pirates who are trying to blow up the transports. So we get a good action scene where Din is shooting the guys at first, and Mayfield screaming at him, being like, "Oh my God, this stuff is volatile, and you're shooting a blaster, at it." And he's like, "They're pirates, just keep driving and I'll take care of it." So he goes up, and there's a really good choreographed scene where they're doing a lot of hand-to-hand combat as well. So I thought that was really good in this episode. And after they get to the refinery, Mayfield recognizes his former commanding officer, Valen Hess, Hess, Hess. And, he's like, "Oh my God, I can't go into the mess hall because he's going to recognize me." So they go through that, and they end up going in. And this is where we get more of Mayfield's background and the reason why he left the Empire, which I thought was really good. So Din and Mayfield end up getting the coordinates, but because they're the only ones that got their transport through to the refinery that day, they have to sit down with Mayfield's former commander. And this is where we really get to see why Mayfield left the Empire, which I thought was really good as well, because Bill Burr is a really good actor. He's a really good stand-up comedian, and you can see the tension just building in him as he's talking to this commanding officer, and he ends up shooting him. So I was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" And that you end up getting an escape out the window because they're trying to get to the roof. So you have Cara Dune, and you have Ming's character. I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry. But yeah, so they're doing cover fire as they're trying to get out, and we end up seeing Boba Fett swoop in and get them off the roof, and Mayfield destroys the refinery with a well-placed shot to one of the transports. I thought that was actually pretty cool. So the shootout scenes were pretty good. The ending was actually pretty good, too. I really liked the ending. The Mandalorian sends Moff Gideon a message threatening him and vowing to rescue Grogu, but he uses Moff Gideon's own words from Season 1. You have something that you just don't understand, and it's worth more to me than you will ever know. And I thought that was fantastic. I really did. I thought that was great because he literally sends the guy a message saying, I am coming for you. And yeah. Dude, this whole episode was really good. The effects I've been trying to look up. There are practical effects, and then there are like CGI and other like spectacular type effects in this. You know, in like movies and shows. This uses a lot of practical effects, which are really good. They don't use like stop action or shots where they keep going back and forth trying to hide things and stuff. So, and then the CGI use that they do use in this is sparingly, and when they do use it, it looks really good. There are like a couple of scenes in this episode where you do see the background is fake. You know, it's CGI'd, but most of it isn't. So you can actually, it looks really good. Again, the action scenes were well choreographed. The music in this was good. I do like the whole soundtrack for Season 1 and Season 2. It's a spaghetti western, and it plays into that. So I thought that was really good. The acting in this episode was really good as well. This episode didn't feel like a video game this time. Like the other episodes are like, you got a quest here, you complete it, now you've got another quest you go to, and then you have to escort somebody, so you have an escort quest. This one didn't really feel like that. This actually felt like it was more of a fun episode to go through, and I really liked watching it because it didn't feel like they were on a quest, even though they were. I mean, again, this is another quest episode where they've got to go find something in order to go to another spot, but it didn't feel like that. So I thought that was really good, and we do get to see Pedro Pascal on screen, and his facial expressions are really good. So I thought that was actually pretty good. And like it was a nice surprise too. Like I wasn't expecting what happened to happen. And I was like, wow, I was like, never thought that would happen. But again, during the transport ride, Mayfield and Din end up having a conversation. That conversation plays in, like I said, to the rest of the episode and into what happens with Pedro Pascal. So I was like, dude, that's awesome. Because I kind of thought they were going to actually get rid of Mayfield, but they didn't. So I was like, that's really sweet. And again, this episode was really good. Bill Burr was really good in this, and he brought like a human quality to Mayfield, especially with learning more of Mayfield's background and the reason why he left the Empire. So I would give this an 8.5 and 9 out of 10 easily. This was by far, I think, one of the better scripted episodes, just because it didn't feel like this was a video game quest again. So I thought that was really good for this whole episode. So this wasn't my favorite episode by far. The Jedi was, just because we got to see Ahsoka Tano, and then the Heiress too was another really good one I thought as well. But those felt still like it was a video game. So I thought this was slightly better than those for the simple fact that it didn't. But if you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and also subscribe, and I'll be doing more content each week. And let me know what you thought about this episode. Leave a comment down below, please. Take care for now, everybody.